Hello and welcome to Monson Made This. My name is Michael. I cook vegan food, so if you're interested in that, definitely click the subscribe button below and give the video a thumbs up while you're down there. I recently just hit 30,000 subscribers, so I want to thank all of you that have already subscribed and those of you that are going to subscribe right now. I really do appreciate it. It's really been helpful during this time to be able to have a source of income, and YouTube is really helping me out, so thank you for all of you that are helping me. Also, I have a Patreon account that is linked below if you want to go ahead and follow me over there. That's where the Monson Ate This episodes are. I think I'm about up to 28 or 29 right now, and that's where I film the after show and have a little bit more of a casual conversation where I eat the recipe that I cooked in the YouTube video. So today, speaking of cooking, I am going to be cooking a recipe that is not my own, but one that I've watched on PBS, because that's what I pretty much do all day now, is watch PBS cooking shows. So I've been watching the show Ciao Italia with Mary Ann Esposito, and I saw just a few days ago that she cooked this recipe with sausage and lentils and leeks, and it looked amazing, and I said I can veganize that. So I'm gonna be cooking that recipe here using Beyond Sausage in place of the sausage, and everything else is pretty much exactly the same. So I will have the recipe, her recipe, linked below. So if you want to make this on your own, you can. I'm all set up, everything's chopped and ready to go. So let's start adding things to the pan, and hopefully this is a delicious, easy recipe. And yeah, let's go. I'm using the Beyond hot Italian sausages today, and I'm actually only cooking a half recipe, so I'm only going to be using 3 of the links, and that should be the perfect size for this pan. First step for this is just to brown the sausage, so I'm going to let this brown on all sides. Then they're going to be removed. That's when I add the veggies, start mixing those up. I add the lentils, I add the broth, and then it goes in the oven for about 35 minutes, and then hopefully we have a delicious lentil sausage dish. So I'm going to babysit these, make sure they get nice and brown. I did also add a little bit of olive oil to the pan here. It's going to help to render some of the fat out of these, which is what's going to cook those vegetables as well. I'm cooking this for the first time, so I'm not sure if other sausages will work, but if you have, I don't know, like a tofurkey Italian sausage, or there's some other brands of vegan Italian sausages, I don't think that they would be terrible in this. I just really like the Beyond because it does render a lot of fat, and it tastes pretty much exactly like I remember Italian sausage tasting. Great sizzle. It's been just a couple of minutes. The fat is rendering out of these nicely. It looks like they're brown enough that I can start to flip them around. I'm getting a little bit of stick here, but that's okay because the vegetables will help to deglaze the pan a little bit later, and all those bits that are stuck on the bottom will just add flavor to the final dish. If we can get the sausage off. There we go. Nice and golden. Just let these get brown on this side, and then we'll be ready to take them out and start cooking the other parts. The sausage has browned up a fair amount. They will cook more when they go back in the pot with the lentils a little bit later, but we've got a lot of nice fat rendered. Smells amazing. We got some bits stuck on the bottom, which, as I said, will be pulled up by the next step. So now we're gonna add leeks, which I'm actually using 2 leeks because the recipe calls for celery, and I just don't have celery, so I doubled the leeks, and some carrots. This recipe also called for pancetta, which I don't have, obviously, a vegan pancetta, so I'm just leaving that out. And I don't have red wine, which is another thing the recipe calls for. I will be adding a little bit of balsamic vinegar towards the end to, again, help, or not the end, but at the end of the vegetable cooking process to help pull some of these bits off the bottom. But already I love the fact that these veggies are cooking in that fat that came from the sausage. It smells incredible. I'm actually going to add a bit of a pinch of salt here. I will be adding some vegetable stock a little bit later, but I think some salt now would be good to help build the layers of flavor. As the leeks and the carrots are releasing some of their liquid, that's helping me to pull some of the stuck on sausage bits from the bottom of the pan. So I'm just working that with this little wooden spatula here. It's coming up pretty easily and it's darkening everything. You can tell that the flavors are just developing nicely. I'm so excited for this final product. When I saw this on TV, I was like, I am veganizing that, and well, here I am today doing it, and hopefully it all turns out well because we're filming it and putting it on YouTube. It's not in the recipe, but as I said, I don't have red wine, so I'm just going to put a little bit of balsamic vinegar in here to help further deglaze the bottom and just to kind of take the place of that red wine. see it's picking up those bits nicely. Smells incredible. As soon as this is pretty much fully reduced and there's no more liquid, then I'm going to add the garlic and the tomatoes. And we're pretty much there. I'm adding the garlic at this point, which I've just cut up into little, I don't know what you'd call it, little discs. I know it's my favorite way to cut up garlic right now, so I've been doing it in all my recipes like this. And then I'm going to add the tomatoes. This is 3 plum tomatoes, not plum tomatoes, sorry, Roma tomatoes. The original recipe does call for plum tomatoes, but I don't have access to those, so I'm just using these Roma tomatoes. I'm gonna let these go for just a minute, kind of get rid of some of the liquid. Lentils will go in, then the broth, sausage, and then it bakes. It smells incredible though. All right, I'm going to add the lentils now. And I forgot I wanted to add a little bit of red pepper flake. Add those in. All right, I'm gonna add the broth, which again, making a half recipe, so I'm only using half the broth that she called for. And this is just some better than bouillon vegetable broth here. I think that's probably a good amount of broth. The original recipe called for 5 cups. I have 2.5 cups here, so I'm just probably putting in about 2 1/4. The recipe said to just make sure that everything is covered, and I think I've done that. All right, so the sausage is gonna go back on top here. And like I said, my oven is preheated to 350. I'm gonna put the lid on. This is gonna go in the oven for 35 to 40 minutes, and then we'll check it, make sure the lentils are finished cooking, and then we get to dig in. 35 long minutes is up, and I'm gonna take this out of the oven to make sure that it's done, to give the lentils a taste. So here we go. Oh, it's so heavy. Smells incredible. Looks pretty good. I just want to test and make sure the lentils are in fact cooked. Pretty close to done. I think I'm gonna put it back in for 5 more minutes just to make sure they're completely done. They're pretty much there, but I think they could use 5 more minutes. So I'm gonna throw them back in. Delicious though. It has been 5 more minutes, so I'm ready to take this back out of the oven. Being very careful because it's super hot and heavy. Ooh, look at it bubble. So ideally this will probably need to like set for a few minutes just to, before we can actually serve it. I'm gonna mix things up and make it look a little bit better so we can do a bit of a photo shoot for this, and then I will be right back after the glamour shots to give this a taste. Well, we really tried to make this look beautiful and to take glamour shots of it, but Ben was cracking up the entire time about the way that it looked and saying that this would no way be glamorous, and I kind of agree. Even though I think it is a beautiful rustic dish, we're not gonna get any mouth-watering glamour shots out of this. But it smells incredible. The house smells delicious like Italian sausage, and I'm ready to give this a taste because I love lentils and I love Beyond sausage, so I think I'm gonna really enjoy this dish. So I'm gonna grab a piece of the sausage and get some of the veggies and the lentils up on this fork and take a big, huge bite. It's incredible. It really is just such a like cozy, comforting, homey dish that you could pretty much even do it without the Italian sausage if you didn't want to use Beyond Meat or something like that. You could just do the veggies and the lentils, and I think you'd have a delicious dish in the end, but the Italian sausage does add a ton of flavor. I don't know, I really love it. I'm excited to be able to devour the rest of this because Ben isn't going to touch it because he thinks it looks awful, but I love it. So if you love this, also give it a thumbs up. Thank you, Mary Ann Esposito, for the recipe that I was able to easily veganize by simply swapping out the sausage. This was, I guess, it's the 4th of my bean or legume or pulse videos. So I asked a few videos ago if y'all wanted a month of beans, and so this is pretty much the conclusion of that, mostly because Well, who knows? Maybe I'll have more bean recipes in the future. We'll see. But thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all of you that have subscribed. Thank you for following me on Patreon if you haven't yet already. And I will be over there eating a lot more of this dish and talking about how much I love it. So go ahead and follow the link below to my Patreon. Thank you again. I will see you next time with another recipe video. Bye.